class. Today I'm going to tell you about types of conjunction. As in my pre video I did tell you about conjunction, definition of conjunction. Now I'm going to tell you about type of conjunctions. I'm going to tell you about coordinate conjunction. So what's the coordinate conjunction? Coordinate conjunctions are words that connect words, phrases or clauses. Connect words, phrases and clauses. As I did tell you about which word are used in coordinate conjunctions, okay, which word are used in subordinate conjunction and which words are used in correlative conjunctions. Now here I am going to tell you about coordinate conjunction. As I did tell you about, as I have told you about coordinate conjunctions words. Okay. Now I am going to tell you about coordinate conjunctions. So what's the coordinate conjunctions? Conjunctions words that connect words, phrases or clause. Okay. Coordinate conjunction connect words, phrases. Connect words, phrases is called or clauses of equal level. Okay, when two independent clause connect with one conjunction, so this is called coordinate conjunctions. As I did tell you about coordinate words, but, so, and yet, for, nor. So these are called coordinate conjunctions. Okay, so far you need to understand what's the clause. Here I am going to tell you about some clause. What's the clause? Clause means what's the independent clause and what's the dependent clause. Okay, first we need to understand what's the independent clause and what's the dependent clause. Here I'm going to tell you about very first you need to understand what's the clause. Clause has proper subject and verb is called clause. Proper verb and subject is called clause. Okay, so what's the independent clause? So what's the independent clause? Independent clause mean independent clause means this is a complete sentence which need no dependent clause. Okay, if I will say he is very brave. He is very brave. So this is a independent clause. This is a independent clause. Okay, and coordinate conjunctions when two independent clause join together. When two independent clause join together. Okay, this is a independent clause. He is very brave, and he is very intelligent. He is very brave and he is very intelligent. When two independent clause join together, he is very brave. This is one independent clause, and is called coordinate conjunction. And is called coordinate conjunction. Okay, and he is very intelligent. This is another independent clause. When two independent clause join together, so this is called coordinate conjunction. When two independent clause join together, so this is called coordinate conjunction. This is one independent clause and this is another independent clause join together with conjunction and, or with conjunction but, with conjunction or, with conjunction if sorry, which conjunction so, which conjunction nor. So this is called coordinate conjunction. If I will say Sana and Sadaf are coming. Sana and Sadaf are coming. Sana and Sadaf are coming. Okay. Sana and Sadaf are coming. Okay, so this is also called coordinate conjunctions. Okay, if I will say she is very intelligent and she is very hardworking girl. Okay, if I will say he runs very fast but he rides very slow. Okay, if I will say he runs very fast but he rides very slow. So this is one independent clause. He runs very fast. He runs very fast. This is one independent clause. This is another. He writes very slow. But are we also here can write but or yet? Okay, yet we also here write yet or but. But he writes very slow. So this is another. I hope you understand what's the coordinate conjunction. Okay, now I am going to tell you about subordinate conjunction. Subordinate conjunctions join main principal clause to a dependent subordinate clause. Join main principal clause. Join main dependent. Join main principal. Join main principal clause to a dependent subordinate. Okay, join main principal clause to a dependent subordinate clause. Here main principal clause. So what's the main principal clause? Is, as I did tell you about in a slide, independent. Independent. So main principal clause is called independent and dependent clause is called subordinate clause. Dependent clause. So what's the dependent clause? So what's the first we need to understand what's the dependent clause. As I did tell you about a independent clause. So what's the dependent clause? If I will say when he will return, so there's no proper sense of the sentence. When he will return, so this is dependent clause. So this is dependent clause because this clause need to independent clause. You know, when there will be independent, then it will complete this sentence because you know when he will return. So this is a no proper sense of the sentence. Who will? When who will return? When he will return. Okay, so here this is called subordinate clause. Okay. Okay. Here I am going to write example. For example, if I say he asked me if I will marry her. If I will marry her. Marry her. Okay. Join main principal clause. He asked me. Join main principal clause to a dependent subordinate clause. If I will marry her. If this is called this is called dependent. This is called dependent clause. This is called independent main principal clause. This is called dependent. He asked me if I will marry her. He asked me if I will marry her. This is called dependent clause, and this is called independent, and this is a conjunction. This is a subordinate conjunction. You know, I did tell you about some specific word which are used for just subordinate conjunction, as, if, because. You know, there's a many more. I did tell you about if, because, and as such. You know, so this is called until, when, because. So this is called subordinate conjunctions. Okay, now here I'm going to write one more examples of subordinate conjunctions. Okay, here I'm going to write these conjunctions are used to introduce a dependent clause. Okay, subordinate clause. Okay, because, if, also, since, until, while, these are also called subordinate conjunctions. Okay, sometimes subordinate conjunctions, you know, if, because, we will use in the start of sentence. Okay, if I will say if he comes, so this is called if he comes. So this is called subordinate conjunction. This is called subordinate or dependent clause. If he comes, what will you do? What will you do? If he comes, what will you do? So here, if he comes is called dependent clause, you know, and this is also called subordinate conjunction, because if is used subordinate conjunction, if word is used. Okay, and subordinate conjunction because dependent clause and independent clause. What will you do? Independent and dependent. Okay, independent and dependent. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about correlative conjunctions. Now I'm going to tell you about correlative conjunctions. You know what's the correlative conjunctions? Correlative conjunction to connect equal element, you know, always exist in pair. Always exist or come in pair. As I did tell you about correlative conjunction words, either or, neither, nor, such. So, you know, such as, whether, as. Okay, so these are always exist in pair, either or, neither, nor. Okay, so okay, now here I'm going to write I will either go to London or Karachi. I will either go to London or Karachi. You know, always exist in pair. I will either go to London or correlative. Okay, so this is called correlative conjunction, either or. You know, here either, here used or. Okay, neither he will come nor you will go. Okay, so neither or nor is also called correlative conjunction. Neither or nor, either or, always exist in pair is called correlative conjunctions. Okay, correlative conjunction always exist in pair. Okay, now here I am going to write one more example of correlative conjunctions. Okay, uh, okay, correlative conjunctions, as I did tell you about, always exist in pair. Okay, correlative conjunctions always exist in pair. Okay, and you know, it's a phrases, word, clauses, correlative conjunction connect element of equal importance. Okay, you know, so these are specific words which I did tell you about. Correlative conjunction versus subordinated conjunctions words, and coordinate conjunctions. I hope you understand what's the meaning of conjunctions and what's a dependent clause, what the independent clause. Okay, you know, I did tell you about in this video: dependent clause, independent clause, main principal clause. Okay, subordinate conjunction, correlative conjunction, coordinate conjunction. So our conjunctions topic is closed. So in my next lecture I will definitely tell you about interjections. So what's the interjection? These are called conjunctions, and we will read inshallah about interjection, another part of speech. Okay, so stay blessed and keep it touch.